Morgen mit Erev Shabbos, Erev Shchedish, Shchedish Nachmon, Wochen, ganze Shchedish, Sosen Simcha. Today's Rambam is involved in the second part of Birkas Tefilah, which is the opinion of Birkas Kohanim. A lot on Birkas Kohanim to discuss. We're going to focus on one halacha here, the Rambam. Now I'm Perek Yudalad of Birkas Tefilah halacha Zayin writes, they shouldn't look at the people. And they shouldn't have hesed hadas, forget about what they're doing. Their eyes should be down towards the ground, as if he's standing in davening, like one who's standing in davening. That's one halacha in here in this halacha zayin. Second half halacha zayin, the person who's being the kabbalah the bracha. I show you with his stakel with mea kliyanim, show shehim the bracha and so on. Kadesh lo yasichu daitu, so they shouldn't be mesiach das. So here it's clear that the reason that the person shouldn't be looking at the kohen. I know that we have different reasons that we say you shouldn't look at the kohen that's brought down, but the reason that's brought down here is it causes you shouldn't be Masir Das. Looking will cause Esrach by the people. Everybody should intently listen to the bracha, attentively listen to the bracha. They should face the kayan. But they don't look in their face. Again, repeat over here. That's what he says. I guess stressing, don't, even though I told you to face them, don't look at them. So I want to just note a couple of things. First of all, in the first halacha, in the first part, he's talking about Kohanim speaking to the people, with the Kohanim part, he separates firstly Abitu Ba'am and then V'lo Yasichu Daitu. Sounds like two separate things. When he talks about the people, he says they shouldn't be mistakel kadesh. The difference in the phraseology of what the kavanah is. By the people, he just said they should be mechavim. Doesn't say anything about aim in the Tefilah. Ayin Kesef Mishnah. So, if you look at the Kesef Mishnah, it explains that paket, and the way he understands it, the Isser originates by the people. That the main Isser is that you're not allowed to look at the Kohanim so that you don't get distracted. And he brings a riot from the Shalom. And he ends up saying, since it's caused a Hesed Das, the Kohanim certainly should not be Mesiach Das. So he seems to learn that you can't, that the Kohanim's Hesed Das is a outgrowth of the fact that we see that there's Hesed Das by the people being the Kabbalah bracha. I want just in Beis Yosef, I guess Mishnah wrote in Beis Yosef too. The Beis wrote the Kesef Mishnah. He writes, also the stakel the Kohanim Mishal Shem Mevarchim Sam Shem Hesed Das. And he writes that from there you can learn Shekam Mekanu Yistakel B'Kadesh L'Sichos Daitum. The whole scheme. Same idea. That it's really an Isser. It's a kol shekei. Don't look because Kadesh L'Sichos Daitum. The Rambam's wording doesn't lend itself to that explanation so easily. Because the Rambam seems to claim that the Rambam seems to present it by it's very, first of all, he presents the Kohanim first, and he presents it in a way that they're two separate things. And the day he doesn't write till he comes to the people. If that's the case, where does he get this from? Where does he get this halacha that you should not look at the people? One thing, not even say that. Second, he adds that EU a neyem connected the oretz kalimid Tefilah. First of all, what is this kalimid Tefilah? And what's this? I know by Tefilah there's an in, but where does this come to Birkas Kohanim? Okay. The Alter Rebbe, Shulchan Aruch, and Levush, they bring that Yiyu Eineim Klape Mata Kemisha Eimed B'Tefilah B'Kavona. And then they add a line that's a very telling and poignant line. Shareihem Mispalalim Sheyavarech Hashem Yisborach Eskol Yisrael. Because the Kohanim are davening. In other words, the Kohanim are also davening. What are davening? Zurech Hashem Yisborach. Telling they're asking the so therefore it has to be Eimed B'Tefilah, and they add the Kavona, Kemisha Eimed B'Tefilah, B'Kavona. That's what they have to do. They're a davener now. They're also a davener. Now, the Rambam doesn't like the word, doesn't add the word B'Kavona. Just writes your stance should be Eimed B'Tefilah. And it's not a stereo, but it's let's analyze the relationship between Tefilah and Birkas Kohanim. There's halacha, and we hear in the shul the Kohen, the Tefilah before Birkas Kohanim calls out Kohanim. So there are various opinions of what you're supposed to do. One opinion is that the Shliach Tzibur should not call out Kohanim. Somebody in the shul should do it. Then there are those who say it's okay. Why? Because what's Kohanim? It's like davening. You can't just make announcements. Then the Shainim say that depends what you do, and which again is something to do. That if you're going to say the Musa, okay, you will say hey Nababro, Chulu, till the word Kohanim, and then you scream out Kohanim. That's a different story. Then it's part of it, and then it's okay because you're doing it in a notion of Tefilah. It's a notion of Tefilah. It's not like and you're allowed to add Tefillahs, although in the last three you shouldn't. But this is something that was already set up as a nusach that you can add. So once you're at it, there's not a problem. You're just doing the nusach of Tefilah. So that's really the issue, whether you can or you can't. And mostly everybody says that just to scream out Kohanim, you don't do that. However, the Rambam in Halacha Ches, the Rambam says that Sheyikra Lahem Shliach Tzibur Ve'ein Lahem Kohanim. And now, without saying Elokeinu Elokei V'Seinu, and so forth. So the Rambam is sort of a das yochid of this, pretty much. Most Rishonim disagree. The Rambam's opinion is that you just say Kohen. So it's another area that we see that Rambam is sort of trying to tell us or giving us an indication of his view of Birkas Kohanim, which we will get. Now, Birkas Kohanim is in the middle of Shemona Esrei. Didn't have to be. Could put it anywhere. Could just, especially we have the minhag. We do a lot of Birkas Kohanim. Become a kibbutz under any event, pretty much. And it's not a middle of davening. Can be clear Birkas Kohanim. Why specifically? In the middle of davening. So let's analyze the relationship between Tefilah and Birkas Kohanim. So there's no question that we'll find that there's a relationship between the last three brachas and Birkas Kohanim. We'll get to soon, but I want to just bring a Gemara Seita, which is the sugi of Birkas Kohanim. Gemara says that kol koi she'ena ela ba'aveda shuv eina ela. Halach is that when you start your tzeit, which is the bracha of aveda, the kohen is supposed to start moving to the duchen to go up the duchen. And what's the source of that? The pasuk says, "Vayishnema ve'isar nesyada v'lam vayivarche vayired ma'asoi sachatas ve'eloshlo ma'alahala ba'aveda kavod." So the Gemara establishes that aveda and the aveda and Birkas Kohanim go hand in hand. And since Birkas Kohanim is mentioned there in Parshas Shmini, which is Birkas Kohanim, so there's also aveda. There was aveda, so therefore every Birkas Kohanim we put in the Bible. The Rambam brings this halacha, and he says, "Kohen shlei okar ragul kaim elal shosh am shliach tzibur say shuv einay oila ba'oisa tefilah." And that tefilah he can't be oila. In other words, don't think shuv einay oila finished. He's like I'm married. Well, what will be the haman? What does he have to add the words ba'oisa tefilah? He didn't go up, so therefore he can't go any minion again. He'll go the next aveda. Mar doesn't say that. I don't know when he says such a thing and adds words to the Lashon Gemara, he's telling you something. Then he could do it. So let's examine this connection between aveda and tefilah, and how it becomes. What does it mean? I'll have to get into it. I just want to avoid too many side things. Let's stick to the main point. The Rambam, in the beginning of these halachas, where he starts, in the beginning of this period, he starts the dinim of Mesias Kapayim. How does he start it? Now, if you would ask me how he should start it, I didn't ask advice from us how to do it, but had he asked, we would have told him to follow. I say we, I don't mean we. I mean, I don't think anybody would say any different. Mitzvahs, I say, there's a mitzvah to be Mesias Kapayim. And tiknu and so forth. No, here we're dealing in Hilchis Tefilah. And in the middle of Hilchis Tefilah, he starts thinking the Mesias Kapayim. No mitzvahs, I say, nothing about why. The Shachris, the Musa, the Ne'ilah, HaKoyanim, Noisin, Eskapayim. Aber the Mitchein is Mesias Kapayim. In the beginning of Hilchas Tefilah and Mesias Kapayim, it's Yesh B'chlolam Shtei Mitzvahs Asay Achas Lavoi Es Hashem B'chlolam. One mitzvah is to serve God. Second shniya levarach Kohanim Mesocha. Hilchos Tefilah. This is a sailor's power. This is to be misbal. Well, it comes here. Nothing. Now, I'm not making this up that would be the proper approach to do it, because if you look at Al Rebbe, when he speaks about the Sins Kabayim, he starts off mitzvah saying and then the Aruch HaShulchan, when he brings it to the same thing, it's only logical that before you start talking about something, you tell us why. Where does it come from? So why did the Rambam begin the start the way he started? Why didn't he start it the way he starts? Didn't Tefilah, and the way everybody else does it. Then he can tell us how, when, where, what days, and all the different, which Tefilah, how we were massacred this Tefilah, and so forth. When do we find out that there's a mitzvah to do Nesiyas Kabbai? In the end of Birkas Kohanim, and there he writes it in a sort of in a negative way. In Halachi Beis, the end of Birkas Kohanim, which is Halachi Beis, it's called Kohen Shein Oilem Duchen. Ava Misha Bitul Mitzasei Achas Ezek Eival Sholosh. Mitamol Mitzasei. No mention. Where? Perhaps you can say, and it seems quite obvious to the Rambam that the Etzem here is not. This is not a Hilchos Nesiyas Kabbai. In other words, it's not a separate Hilchos Nesiyas Kabbai. This is Hilchos Tefilah. Here he's talking about Tefilah, Hilchos Tefilah, and Hilchos Tefilah includes Nesiyas Kabbai. Now, he specifically avoided writing mitzvah Lisa Kappa in the beginning because then it would be a mitzvah of Nesiyas Kabbai. It wouldn't have that Tefilah aspect of it. And it was like just put it into the Tefilah. No, the Chachamim made the Nesiyas Kabbai a chelik of Tefilah, and there's a lot of interesting discussions to show that, to prove that. I want to just mention. No, let's leave it. Where does the Rambam get this from? Perhaps the famous Gemara Megillah that everybody has learned, because the Gemara talks about how did the Hazal organize the Tefilah in the way it's organized, each bracha before the other one. Why? So he says the Seder Shainesel, it goes through every bracha. The Kiv on Shed Boss, Tefilah, Boss Haveda. Why do we have it say after Shemay Tefilah? Because since you spoke about Tefilah, comes Haveda, because Haveda is a follow-up to Tefilah. Shnema Elisayim L'Ratzonam Mizbechi. So it's elevating everything in all Tefillahs. Next, the Kiv Shabbos Haveda, Basa Teda. Since Haveda comes, Teda comes. Now, frankly, Birkas Kohanim why is Birkas Kohanim after? No, it's because it says Vayisa Arnes Yadav. That was that posting that we learned before, that you need to start moving by Ritzay. That's the posting. I asked him, so why don't you do it after? It's all one concept. Because Bracha HaKadosh Baruch Hu Shalom. I want to mention that in this other thing that Sim Shalom is part of Birkas Kohanim. It's sort of like the extension of Birkas Kohanim. The Birkas Kohanim ends with Sim Shalom. Not for this discussion, but that fits into this Gemara. If this is the case, so the Rambam is stressing a different thing. Not because Birkas Kohanim is Tefilah. Birkas Kohanim is a Tefilah for itself. Birkas Kohanim is a chiluk of the Shemoneh Esrei. It's a step in Shemoneh Esrei. Okay, now you skip that step. But now, if it's there, it's a part of Shemoneh Esrei. That's the Rambam stressing. Killing made the Tefilah. That it is mamish like standing, and when you stand down, your head has to be face has to be down towards the earth. It's a seder Tefilah. You have the same seer of Tefilah. Therefore, the Rambam holds it's two separate things. Lo yabitu v'lo yasichu. Lo yabitu is because in Tefilah you don't look around. Lo yasichu daita. By the Am, it's a different story. By the people, it's not Tefilah. Unless there's a chance, there's a way to make it Tefilah, but that's the discussion. How then they have to listen to every word. But by the Shliach Tzibur, this is his Tefilah. Oh, if I say that doesn't need a king of Lekevsing or thing. Saying Kohanim is part of you're required for this, but in order to have Birkas Kohanim say that you need a makri to say Kohanim, that's part of the Tefilah. Goes into the Tefilah, goes into part of the Tefilah. That can't be a hefsek. Everything that is shy to Birkas Kohanim is not considered a hefsek in Tefilah. So there's no, according to Rambam, you go straight to Kohanim, it's not a problem. So there's no shayla of hefsek. And therefore, Taki, and I don't know if Alter Rebbe and the Levush, they agree with this. They've been a little different. And that's why they say, because it said the Lashon Bracha Tefilah. Maybe they're trying to explain that. I don't know. The Rambam, there's many indications in other halachas, and we'd have to get into other parts of the sugya, that he sees it as part of the Tefilah. I told you that he sees Sim Shalom as a hemshech in Birkas Kohanim. That's the Chalal the Rambam shitted that Birkas Kohanim is the Eibish's brother, the Sicha, the Rambam, which I gave a share on the project with the Sichas about. Just to note, we know that Chassidus there's a lot of discussion about the difference between Birkas Kohanim and Tefilah. Tefilah is Bamata L'mayla, Birkas Kohanim is Amshach L'mayla Mata. But in the Maimer, the Rebbe says, Yud Gimel Tammuz Asar Sheyeshu, he says, even though Birkas Kohanim was a mitzvah with Me'atzma, they established it in Tefilah. They put it into Tefilah. Kavu Chacham in the Tefilah. It's understood that even though Tefilah is different with Mamata L'mayla, however, through Tefilah, you're able to come to that level of being Mamshech Birkas Kohanim, which is Birkas Kohanim, which is Mayla Mata. So, again, this would fit into the way we understand the Rambam, the idea of Birkas Kohanim being part of the Tefilah. It's not just a place to say it. It's not a placeholder or because we want to do it as part of Avodah. No, it's a chiluk of the Seder Tefilah and has a din of Tefilah, and therefore it has to have a tzibur of Tefilah. I think it fits in very well into the words of Rambam Kohanim. Slocher, Rabbi Blogger, Gutner, Shabbos, on Zayin, Shchedish, Stake, Shchedish, Nachmov. It should be a time that we are zeicher to again have Birkas Kohanim and the Mikdash HaShlishi immediately. Tzlocher Rabbi.